Girls of Reddit, what are some seemingly small gestures you wish guys did more often? LOL. I do this for my wife, too. And she really, really likes it. Tickled pink and just beaming a smile every time I fetch her a water just because. TBH, I never really understood how this got started. Just realized she super liked it, so I kept doing it, I guess. Eventually it turned into almost an inside joke because she got super thirsty when she was pregnant with our first kid. Like, legitimately maybe you should see a doctor about this because you seem unreasonably thirsty. Turns out she was okay. But now it's like a joke about how much I know she loves water. Agreed. I married my husband because he gave fantastic hugs. Like snuggle in his arms like he is a great big bear and get hugged to the point of the good feels. Of course not the only reason, but from our first time going out with mutual friends, when I dropped him off he gave me a bear hug and I didn't want to let go. It was amazing. Now that I know what sensory processing disorder is, I wonder was I initially attracted to him because those amazing hugs just squished me just right and made me happy? Our kids have sensory processing issues and for real, they do not like light hugs. They hate them. Get them in a tight squeeze bear hug and they are so happy. My girlfriend wants to murder me when I bring her favorite sweet snack. Because it's Oreos. And she will eat them all within days. And then works out harder because of it. And I get the wrath of that every time. Face with tears of joy. But I've really started to do better at listening to her on what she likes. Her toaster oven died, so I got her an air fryer. She tried but hated it. She really missed having a window to see her food cook. Coincidentally, months later, my air fryer died and she said she really wanted another toaster oven with the window. I started looking at air fryers with windows and such. But realized she really just doesn't like technology and likes her analog buttons. So I got her a toaster oven, with a built-in toaster on top. When she got it, she was ecstatic. Said she nearly came to tears because I listened to what she wanted and not what I thought she'd like. This goes for people in general, but if you can discover something about the person that you know they put significant thought, energy, and time into and is newer and uncertain for them and you point out in a positive light, it is the strongest compliment you can give. The basic example of this is someone trying out a new hairstyle or cut. It can also be a hobby, or career pursuit, a fitness goal, etc. etc. Like if you notice someone's been losing weight before it's registered to them visually, since your increments of seeing them are larger than seeing themselves. In my dating days, I kept tampons, pads, new toothbrushes, new hairbrush, fancy shampoo and conditioner, and clean towels and washcloths that I would absolutely never use, so they were always ready. It gave me great confidence when it came to bringing a lady home, and it always guaranteed a return visit. I always made sure that I restocked when a package was opened too. No reason to make a lady have to confront the fact that there have been others in her shoes. It's easy to know when she wants someone to listen to her rather than giving advice or a solution to the problem, situation, etc., at hand. I'll either be told beforehand whether she's curious about how I would go about resolving something, or the conversation will focus on the experience, emotional aspects, or other things she wants to talk about that is descriptive rather than prescriptive. In my experience, when the listening mode is activated, you can learn and understand quite a bit of stuff just based on asking to follow-up questions that progress the conversation in a natural flow. It's like being a hobby psychologist, and I can abstract myself from the situation despite that specific topics might be relatively heavy and painful experiences. Before we got married, my husband would do these little things to let me know he'd thought of me. For example, one time I went to shop at a retail store and he walked down to the bookstore, and on his way back there was a candy shop. He bought me a little tin can of Hello Kitty candy because he knew I liked Hello Kitty. That melted my heart that he thought about me enough to surprise me. I knew he was a keeper because previous boyfriends were never as thoughtful. Another time he was at work on his lunch break spending time watching a YouTube video on how to fold an origami rose so he could bring it home to surprise me for our anniversary. He had never done any type of origami before. He told me he messed up a few times and the one he thought was the best one he kept, lol. We don't have a lot of money, so he would come up with the cutest ideas to show me how much he loves me. That's what mattered to me most. Sentimental things are way more valuable to me. So I've been told this by a bunch of girls, that they love my lopsided smile. I smile and take it in stride, but it's actually not a great compliment. The reason why my smile is a little lopsided is because I had pretty severe Lyme disease, which gave me partial face paralysis. I had to spend months practicing facial exercises to mitigate and reverse, to the extent I was able, the damage from it. I'm left with a bit of lopsidedness in things like my smile and near my eye, especially when I'm tired. To me it comes off more as I love how Lyme disease altered your face. Haha, it's a really weird compliment to get for someone trying to stop a disability permanently altering their face. Like if you told a guy who broke his leg that you like his weird walking gait. Something my BF does is the dishes or makes the bed. He'll be at work and come home to things cleaned up. Or when he leaves a card somewhere on the house for me or on my car window. The little things matter. Especially when you don't have to ask. He is the only boyfriend I have ever had that does the little things, and I'm in my 30s, lol. All the prior ones just had sex and played video games. I had male friends on college that I trusted. They never expected anything other than friendship. If I had a bad day, they'd come over and hang out, watch TV, play games, and do homework, etc. The biggest thing, they treated me like an equal. If I was treated rudely, they'd shut that down. Excuse me, she was explaining that when you interrupted. If I said I knew something, they never, openly, second-guessed it. Yes. In my third year at uni, I had two guy friends I trusted completely. I also had another guy housemate who just gave everyone the worst vibes, rapid mood changes, never seemed to be out with friends but was always telling tall stories about what he was supposedly up to, making sexual jokes about me real early on to meeting me. I started to take his behavior as it was, he was just odd, but then my guy friend pointed out that this particular housemate always asked me questions, then left halfway through my answer. It had been really bothering my friend, and he wondered why I never seemed to care. The second he pointed it out to me, it was all I noticed. He never did it to the guys, but to me, he'd always ask me something, walk off mid-answer, and then completely change the topic on his return. Guy friends that actually pay attention to how others are treating you, and stand by you when they notice someone's dismissive of you, are God's ends. The best friends treat you as equal, 100%. They never stood up to him LMAO, but I could do that myself. They just pointed out the things I had missed LOL. The unique part is really important. There's often a dynamic where men express extreme desire towards women and are confused when women don't find it flattering. Aside from a whole other host of reasons, one really big reason it isn't flattering is that it so often isn't personal. It just feels like this guy really wants to fuck someone and you happen to be in the right place at the right time. What matters to him is how receptive you are and not any other aspect of your personality or appearance, other than maybe meeting some minimum threshold of attractiveness. To be clear, this is absolutely not what I think all guys are like all the time. But it happens often enough that a lot of women stop being excited by male attention. While complimenting, I just wish guys don't go too corny. They would either compliment the looks fully, or try to appear like a nice guy by complimenting the personality too much. You can tell that they are trying to get your attention by doing that. That would sound too bad. The thing which I loved about my husband was how he talked normally and funny to me, which made me feel good and comfortable. That's one of the main things. This will probably sound super random and lame, but when my guy and I are watching something funny and it makes him laugh, he always looks over at me. It's like he finds it hilarious and wants to make sure I'm enjoying myself too. Every single time. I've started looking back at him to see if he looks at me, and the whole act makes me laugh, and just feel good inside that he wants to share in the moment. It's been more than 10 years and I've never once commented on it because I don't want to potentially make him self-conscious and he stops doing it. Showing genuine interest and care for what I have to say. One of the things I like about my husband, and the close guy friends I have, is they're great at back and forth conversations. Not just talking over me like what I have to say isn't as entertaining as what they have to say, then promptly aiming face at their phone screen as soon as I start to speak. I have met so many people, not just guys, who do this and it just sucks. I'm on the quiet side, so I really appreciate when those who are close to me give me the chance to be a part of the conversation, and even encourage it. Being silly and it being okay being silly together. Randomly skipping while holding hands. Running to the car from returning the shopping cart, in same lane, be careful. Secretly bringing in a snowball from outside to not miss when thrown. Secret handshake. Funny voices, even in public, Hank Hill, Margaret, Adventure Time, Christopher Walken, etc. Teeth check. One says it and we smile as big as possible and awkwardly as possible to make sure no food is stuck in their teeth, then pretending it didn't happen. Nailing the Peralta and Boyle no-look high five and somehow holding back the celebration from it. Rules like the first selfie or photo taken is a funny faces only one followed by a smile one then another funny one. Making up house rules and enforcing them, always having cash for the ice cream truck. The person who takes more than one trip from the car with the groceries has to say they are a dingus, etc. I'm seeing a woman who got into hockey a few years ago. I had been into much earlier, but lost track as fewer and fewer friends kept up with it, until her. She keeps defending herself as if she expects me to argue with her. I'm sure she's dealt with that a lot. All I can do is I keep reassuring her that although I may know a little more history just from watching earlier, she understands today's game much better than I do. I'm just happy to get back into a sport I love and share it with someone so awesome. I love her insight and enthusiasm. I feel like I'm relearning the sport through her. Think of house chores as their own responsibility, not in favor for your loved ones. Also, you can vent out or be emotional. I know many guys like to joke about the extreme stoic nature of their friendship. Like, oh, we don't talk daily, yeah, we just said hi and noted the scores. No BS about how my day was, etc. But then you find a woman friend and start opening up and proceed to think that OMG I'm in love, where you're simply being introduced to communication with another human about those BS emotions. Put things back in the right spot. Everything has a spot. If you can't remember the spot, ask or guess. Its spot is not out on the middle of the table. If the counter is clean before you use it, clean it after you use it. If the hand towel is folded, and you unfold it to dry your hands, refold that shit. Don't just toss it on the rack like a slob. Put the new roll of toilet paper on the handle thing when the old roll is done. If a dish is dirty, put that shit in the dishwasher. Dishwasher is clean? Good, empty it. Do chores without having to be asked/told. Because having to direct a man on how to clean properly is a chore itself. Have something planned. It doesn't have to be expensive or extravagant. My husband's great, but he says he doesn't care what we do, but that still means I have to make plans and decisions about everything. We're going on a trip in a few weeks and he hasn't given me a single idea about what he'd like to do while we're there. After I bought the plane tickets, chose the hotel, made reservations for a few things, have been doing all the research on what we can do, it's exhausting. I just want to have something planned for me for once without having to figure out the logistics. Listen, just listen instead of adding any commentary other than support. I can't tell you how many times in relationships I wanted to talk about my needs and the man would just say that I'm trying to start an argument. Edit. Some of you replying are really proving my point. You don't listen and make commentary that's basically irrelevant to what I stated. I'm talking about needs specifically, what I as a woman need out of my partner. That requires listening, which some of you will never do because you don't care about your partner, enough to give them one simple thing. It may seem funny, but I like when a guy gives compliments, but presented in a way that inclines he was actually thinking of and observing you. For me it's far more pleasant than just telling me I look beautiful, which also feels good BTW. For example, once my college friend told me I should learn Spanish, because I looked like a pretty Spanish woman. Afterwards I had crush on him for 2 weeks. Another guy once told me my voice is very soothing when I'm sleepy and he enjoys listening to me when I'm tired. Just out of blue, I don't know why, but I felt so fluttered. My favorite one was when he also told me that I looked way better with boyish hairstyle, because in a short haircut, he could see my features better, and added that a mole under my lip was very attractive. In my opinion, compliments like these are very thoughtful and attentive, if this makes sense. I'll add a counterpart to this: make sure you don't get mad if something isn't done right. We'll get scared of trying and feel helpless, yelled at if we try, yelled at if we don't. Solution: if we do something wrong, show us and maybe do it together next time. If the guy is really trying and wanting to help, this should provide him the support he needs. Some guys are dicks and won't try. You do it so much better than me, or can't take the criticism. I'm not dumb, I know how to do laundry, and then proceed to keep screwing up. This could likely get annoying if it was done too often, but every now and then it's cute when they copy something that you're doing, not in a derogatory or mocking manner, but because they liked how it looked when you did it or wanted to relate to you or something. Smiling face. For example, when I was in secondary school, I sat next to this boy in science. One time, the sun was shining into the class through the blinds onto part of my hair, so I was analyzing it, looking at all of the colors in it that the sunlight had made apparent. He watched me as I did this and then, after a while, asked me what I was doing and moved into the light himself to try it out, which I found really cute. We then talked about it for a bit. It's just something so small, but I found it so adorable that he copied me to try to relate to me more and to take an interest in what I was doing. I know everyone is sharing what girls of Reddit want, which is appropriate since that was the question asked, but is anyone else reading this and thinking that this is what every human being wants? I'm a grown-ass man and I am reading what all these girls want, and there aren't too many differences. I would love more hugs and kisses, and I would love little tokens that she's thinking of me. I'm in a good spot relationship-wise, but I truly believe it's the little things for everyone. Guys need love and to be soft and squishy sometimes too. As for the girls answering, keep it up because you are giving all of us, guys and girls I hope, some good ideas, smiley face. Before I got pregnant, my boyfriend would run to the store and buy me a king-sized Hershey's bar every month when I would get my period, without fail. We used to work together, it's how we met, and if he wasn't working but I was, he would bring it to me while I was working. He got into the habit of it when I ran out of tampons in the stash I had at work and I had to have him get me some and bring them to me. He showed up with tampons, chocolate, and Chick-fil-A. I didn't expect it to become a monthly thing for him to bring me chocolate, but suddenly I was getting one every time I had a period. Now that I'm pregnant and with quarantine, he stopped for a while, but he recently got me one and said it doesn't have to stop just because you're pregnant. Now every now and then I come home from my current job to find a big ass bar of chocolate on the kitchen counter. It lasts me at least 2 weeks because it's not a frequent craving of mine, but I always pack it in my lunchbox in case I have a sudden strong chocolate craving. It's the smallest gesture but I love it every time.